There's no doubt about it. The woods are scary. And what's scarier is that America is full of densely wooded areas where you could get lost or worse. Some kind of hairy beast from your worst nightmare could snatch you up and make you disappear permanently. That's what binds my two picks in this installment of the Best in Horror Countdown 2023-2024. Number 21 snuck in right before the deadline, but if it doesn't deter you from going into the forest alone, I don't know what will. Never Let Go was released on September 20th, 2024, and available on demand and digital download from Lionsgate Pictures. It's directed by Alexandre Aja and written by K.C. Coughlin and Ryan Grassby. Halle Berry plays Mama, the mother of two young boys, Samuel, played by Anthony B. Jenkins, and Nolan, played by Percy Daggs IV, who all live in a wooden cabin in the middle of a dense woods. Mama believes that there's a great evil lurking in the woods outside their house's perimeter, but as long as they stay connected to the house by a long rope when they go outside, they're protected from those evil forces. As Samuel and Nolan grow older, they begin to wonder what is beyond the length of the rope and doubt their mother's warnings. Reminiscent of a few other horror films recently released, specifically Arcadian with Nick Cage in the role Barry plays, and a little bit of Lovely Dark and Deep thrown in, along with some sprinkles of Goodnight Mommy, the original, not that lame remake with Naomi Watts, Never Let Go distinguishes itself by way of acting talent. Sure, those other movies were well acted, but in this movie specifically, Barry and the young actors playing the two kids stand out as exceptional. Barry is in an unflattering role with no makeup and isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. Her character does some horrible things in order to survive and protect her children, and Barry is ruthless in the role. If anything, this is a movie that proves what a talented and underutilized actress she really is. Supporting Barry are the two boys, Anthony B. Jenkins and Percy Daggs IV, who play Samuel and Nolan respectively. While again these roles are far from original, with one unquestionably following his mother's orders and the other tempted to go against them due to curiosity and sheer child rebelliousness, these two little actors offer up wonderfully natural performances. There are large sections where Barry isn't around, and these two actors fill that void with their talent with ease. But the big question in Never Let Go is whether or not Barry's mama is nuts, or if there really is something horrible haunting the family from the woods outside. In many ways, the answer doesn't matter, though we do get some hints by the time the movie ends. Is this a story about a demonic possession that overruns the world, or is it more of a down-to-earth story about one very mentally ill woman trying to protect her sons from her hallucinations? The movie kind of answers both of those questions without doing so outright, and those who like a buttoned-up and tidy ending might wince at how this one wraps up. Though I kind of like the enigmatic way this one ends. That said, Never Let Go is a rich film in terms of theme. One can apply all trains of thought and meaning from all corners of theory to this film, and it can work. If you want to look at the film through a psychological lens, whether the worldwide possession is real or not, the selective way Mama sees the monsters, her rationale about why the children don't see the monsters, and how they seem to be developing the ability to see these creatures, again, whether they're real or not, can be seen as representative to schizophrenia and how it is theorized to be passed on from parent to child. Mental illness also can be the cause of magical thinking, like a rope can protect you from all forms of harm. One can also attribute these visions to a shared psychosis or some kind of groupthink where the children, exposed to Mama's rants for so long, begin seeing these visions as well. Then again, if you want to look at this through a more Freudian lens, Mama ties her children to home as a way for her to keep them from leaving her care and signifies her selfish refusal to let them lead their own lives and form their own beliefs. Want a cultural angle? How about the rope tying the children to their home, representing the American black family's quandary whether to stay stagnant and stuck in the past or venture forth into the future where freedom lies in today's society? Want a feminist angle? Barry's mama is a strong female character, not flawless, but constantly struggling to keep her family together despite insurmountable odds. Throughout the film, Barry must not only assume the role of the mother, but also the role of the breadwinner in this fractured family. This film interested me because it can be dissected from many angles with many critical tools. And while most critics seem to only want to use one or two tools in their critical toolbox, I find looking at these films from various ways makes criticism more interesting to me and hopefully for you as well. Back to the film, while I wouldn't call Never Let Go absolutely terrifying, I was heavily invested in the characters' plights and concerned for their safety in this wildly unpredictable story. Most of the effects scenes were spoiled in the trailer, but they are quite creepy and make for some treacherous challenges for our three heroes. I will admit, though, that I shot back in my chair very early in the film due to a well-timed jump scare. Never Let Go is very similar to other films we've seen this year, but it does every one of those familiar aspects especially well. The film could be examined from a dozen different angles, and that's due to a story that plunges forward and keeps the audience guessing. It's also due to some very solid talent involved in front of and behind the camera. While Alexandre Aja has had his share of hits and misses, Never Let Go is one of his better ones. Knowing that Aja was behind the mind-scrogging High Tension, the surprisingly twisted Hills Have Eyes remake, and the mainstream and fun Crawl, it's no wonder how thematically hefty and thoroughly entertaining Never Let Go turned out to be. Speaking of terrifying trips into the woods, here's a film that centers around the David Paulides missing 411 theories, a topic I am absolutely fascinated with, which is why this film, which missed my main countdown just by an inch, is definitely worth noting. Lovely, Dark, and Deep was released on February 23rd, 2024, and is streaming on Tubi from XYZ Films. It's directed and written by Teresa Sutherland. Barbarian's Georgina Campbell plays Lennon, a rookie park ranger assigned to an outpost deep in a national park. Lennon passes her time studying a map of the forest where, as a child, her sister was lost and never recovered. When a camper goes missing, it triggers Lennon to relive that feeling of loss and emboldens her to find the lost camper on her own. But finding the camper might be the least of her worries, as the woods seems to have its sights set on Lennon to devour next. If you're an avid conspiracy nut like me, you most likely are familiar with David Paulides' 411 theories about the North American national parks. If you don't know anything about it, here's the short version. It's not a mystery that getting lost in the forest is a bad thing. While most likely, a lot of these missing persons succumbed to the elements and their remains were lost in the thick forest or eaten by wildlife. But the missing 411 theory believes that there are a vast number of cases where someone was there 1 second and the next it is as if they simply disappeared. Paulides attributes these missing persons cases to everything from other dimensional portals to UFO abductions to Bigfoot. If you're interested in further research on the subject, it's pretty easy to find on YouTube, but beware, it's a mighty deep rabbit hole to dive into. With all of these hours of videos dedicated to disappearances in the national parks, it's about time a movie comes along and makes use of these theories, and Lovely, Dark, and Deep is just that movie. Writer-director Teresa Sutherland makes this a deeply personal tale by having her main character, Lennon, enwrapped in these missing 411 podcasts. She listens to them while she hikes down the trails. She's bound and determined to get to the bottom of why her sister went missing all those years ago, even if it puts herself into danger. And into danger Lennon leaps as she ignores orders to stay at her post and constantly goes hiking all over the area, looking for some kind of clue to this mystery that has plagued her all these years. Luckily, Georgina Campbell's large lost eyes and chipmunk cheeks make her an actress you almost automatically root for. Campbell plays a stubborn yet naive ranger, and she does it very well. She's likable and seems haunted by her past, feeling responsible for losing her sister. Given that Lennon's motivation is so deeply important to her, you almost understand why Lennon keeps putting herself in harm's way over and over again throughout this movie. Still, I found myself frustrated how many times Lennon simply ignores the orders of her superiors. She's well-intentioned, but often finds that she does more harm than good by being this dedicated to finding the lost. This proves to be the central challenge of the film, as many 411 theorists believe that park rangers know something about the mysterious disappearances, but keep these secrets for unknown reasons. Throughout Lovely, Dark, and Deep, we find out why these secrets are kept. It's a wonderful and somewhat subtle transformation we experience through Lennon, who goes from rookie to someone who is beginning to understand what the park ranger's role is. But that learning experience is an arduous one. Filled with all kinds of claustrophobic shots of being surrounded by trees, surreal buildings that appear and disappear from nowhere, dreamlike interactions with ghostly people, and some absolutely terrifying imagery of simply batshit crazy stuff going on in the woods, Lovely, Dark, and Deep whisks the viewer up onto a roller coaster ride into a thickly wooded nightmare that refuses to allow you to wake up. The entire film is carried by Campbell, for the most part, as she endures all kinds of dream logic and nightmare imagery the deeper she gets into this never-ending forest. Director Sutherland is able to capture some shocking and warped images that feel original, yet also strike at a primal nerve. By the time the film comes to a close, Lennon does find some answers, though they might not be the ones she first intended to find. It's a somewhat vague ending, but one with a great sense of poeticism and poignancy. If anything, you're going to find yourself thinking twice before camping after watching Lovely, Dark, and Deep. It captures the stuff of pure nightmare at times, yet grounds it with a deeply personal story, acted out by a very capable actress in Campbell. This is a good one. And if you ever have been in the woods and even had the smallest inkling that you might be a bit lost, Lovely, Dark, and Deep is going to hit very close to home. Once again and always, feel free to agree, disagree, or how about you play along at home and give me your own picks for your favorite horror movies. It's October, so let's talk horror. Come back tomorrow for the next level in the Best in Horror Countdown. Be sure to hit all of those pertinent bells and whistles down below, and you'll never miss a post. Happy Halloween, folks. Please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell for notifications. You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. Inside